SilkSong is the new-ish sequel to Hollow Knight, an extremely successful 2D action-adventure Metroidvania that was praised for its gameplay, story, and art direction. SilkSong was originally started as a DLC/expansion of Hollow Knight, as Team Cherry, the makers of both games, have a habit of making free DLC, truly making it just downloadable content and not something you have to pay a lot of money for. Team Cherry announced SilkSong about 2019, and it was even playable at E3 when that was a thing, and then didn't say anything for about the next 6 years, which is the reason why there was mass hysteria and thousands of people all coming up with their own theories, fan culture galore. SilkSong was simply a joke to some people. Not exactly a joke in the fact the game was never coming out, but the fact of we simply had no idea what the developers were doing. And by now, we only know that the reason they took so long was because they unironically said they had too much fun developing everything and forgot to give any news, any idea of what was happening. SilkSong, and Hollow Knight by extension, is a game primarily composed of learning about the environment around you while having a specific set goal in mind. Bosses are extremely fun, they're common enough, but they are not always required, and to be fair, most of the time bosses are done in a way that makes it so that the reward from beating a boss is lessened by the feeling of beating the boss in of itself. The game has a act system where you start at Act 1. Upon reaching the major area known as the Citadel, you reach Act 2, and Act 3 is locked behind a specific ending, quote unquote, in which you bring about the void to Farloom. Farloom being the place in which SilkSong takes place. The void is a whole concept that I don't feel like fully explaining. I can explain story beats, themes, but I'm not going to explain the entire lore of the connected universe between the two games. Sorry for anyone who wants that, but I'm pretty sure Hollow Knight alone has like a 2-hour video, and SilkSong I don't even want to know at this point, especially with all the stuff it recontextualizes. To put it simply, though, SilkSong is about motherhood, faith and motherhood. The game revolves around a set, fully region spanning, for the most part, religion that involves the Citadel, as mentioned before. It's an important location for a reason. And many, many characters who are called pilgrims all want to reach said Citadel. To contrast with Hollow Knight's fatherhood being its main theme, along with a few other much, much less prevalent themes if you look at it from exclusively those two angles. Hollow Knight's concept of having multiple characters all share the same father, with Hornet, the person you play as in SilkSong, having the same father as the main character of Hollow Knight, and the, I wouldn't say antagonist of Hollow Knight, but one of the main people, most important boss fights in that game. There's a extremely fun aspect of SilkSong and Hollow Knight that involves how, simply put, everyone's made of bugs, or everyone is bugs. Almost everything in SilkSong and Hollow Knight are bugs. Not insects, bugs. There's spiders, because that's a bug. There's even some small non-insectoid right? Like creatures. There's plants that are like living beings. There is even the higher being that is simply just some snail, or I guess slug. And it's very fun to like see how these characters are given shape and form in ways that represent other humanistic characteristics. Before I go on within this podcast, I would like to first off state that all following audio is somewhat wrong sounding no matter what I do. And even with help, I have not been able to fix it. I do not know how to fix it. I will leave it up to you, the listener, to simply adjust to after beginning to hear it. Womp womp, I guess. Anywho, it is at this point that I do have to state I don't exactly feel like hiding too much more spoiler. So if SilkSong sounds interesting, you could play it. I also suggest you would play Hollow Knight first because I haven't actually talked about anything important or major to either game. So please, if you like Metroidvanias, if you like the concept of very good music with very, very fun boss fights, I would argue one of the main reasons why a lot of indie games get their big general praise about boss fights is because of Hollow Knight starting the trend first. Go play Hollow Knight. Go play Silksong. Okay, hopefully, if you were going to play the games, you have left by now. Because if not, I can now just immediately get into stuff like how you have extremely important themes of religion following the entire game, along with a general sense, in my opinion, of like the cost to do something versus the cost if you don't. Not exactly no cost too great, but definitely still a good chunk of is the action you're doing really worth it, or how much do the means really justify this? How much does the end, the goal, really affect what you're trying to do? The thing I can most prevalently think of is a boss fight I just recently fought, the Unraveled. The Unraveled, after you defeat it, you enter a room where you have access to a room where you find out that silk flies, these little glowing butterflies that have been inside just about every light source and a bunch of other like machinery, are straight up like living beings that have been compressed down into effectively a soul of silk. And it's kind of a big grand moment because all of the area you fight the Unraveled in, which is known as White Ward, it just feels like you're playing Silent Hill. It is extremely like it is one of the scariest parts of the game because most ambience is kind of cut short. The environment is much darker, not like darker color, just low light, and everything about it screams you are in a place where horrors have taken place. It's also, hospital theming, white ward. You get the idea. I don't want to yap too much. I don't want to cut things too short with a game this good, but I truly cannot explain everything within SilkSong that makes it so good, simply put, so amazing. So I must now sadly end this time by saying thank you for listening, thank you for watching. I hope to see you in my next podcast, and I hope to be able to get it out at a good pace and don't have to rush anything. Bye bye.